This is Natalie Waters with Natalie Waters Racing, and you're listening to the Gearhead and Gasoline podcast.
When we started this company, it was in my parents' basement and it had really bad cell service and reception. So I was calling from my parents' landline, like clients. And one day, UNOH called me back and my mom answered the phone because it was my
Jeez.
and I'm like, oh gosh. And then they're like, is Kendra Sommer available? And my mom said, oh no, she's still sleeping.
Yeah.
It was so embarrassing.
She's in the bathroom.
Yes. It's just like, your Midwest folksy mom.
Right. Did you end up getting to talk to her though?
We
The
did.
BAM, I mean?
Welcome to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, where we dive into the high-octane world of market-leading shop owners, shop employees, and automotive enthusiasts from the aftermarket, restoration, performance, and racing industries. So strap in as we take you on an awesome journey with our guests as they share their real-life stories, lessons learned, business advice, and unfiltered insights to help you beat the school of hard knocks. Gearheads and Gasoline, fueling your success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, powered by Redline Oil and AMD. I'm Barry Alt with Motorhead Digital, and joining me as co-host today is Sawyer from Revved Automotive Consulting. Today, we're excited to welcome Kendra Sommer, owner of CWK Media, to the show. Kendra is an automotive reporter, producer, businesswoman known for her brand, Cruising with Kendra, and her creative ad agency. Welcome, Kendra.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. We finally got connected here to get you on the show.
Yeah, it's so good to finally connect.
We had to reschedule it because Sean had a little incident with the bee, but we got it figured out.
Yeah, kind of played the better safe than sorry with that one. So quick trip to the ER or a clinic for some steroids and antibiotics, and I'm all better.
Tip shop.
Well, I guess we'll start with our icebreaker question. Kendra, what is your favorite drink?
Well, I actually I'm one of those people that does energy drinks. So I have Celsius. I was prepared for this question. So Celsius, and then I went to Target yesterday and I also got Bloom.
That's a new one. I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, it's like sparkling energy. So I don't know. I'm going to be really hyped up on this.
All right. Thanks for the warning.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm right now I'm just doing water with ice in it because it's like flaming hot here and very humid. So we're trying to stay in the air conditioning, and we're not used to this heat like Sean is and you are.
I was going to say, same down here in Texas. We've had rain all spring. The humidity has been through the roof, and now we're getting up to those high 90s, low hundreds. So yeah, it's air conditioning season.
That's crazy. Well, it's been kind of chilly here in Los Angeles, like 60s, 70s.
Really?
Yeah, which is nice. I do like that.
Yeah, I take that all day long over in 96 today with index of 100 and something, right? But it's supposed to get nicer next week. But anyways, Kendra, what took you from CBS and Entertainment Tonight in Los Angeles to the automotive space? That's a big shift for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit of a taking a bet on myself and just kind of giving you the abbreviated version. Out of college, I got a job at Entertainment Tonight. I always wanted to do, something on TV, and I knew people and was really relentless. How I got that job was getting onto the CBS lot, and then which is challenging, and then I went over to where they film Entertainment Tonight and pretty much created a position for myself.
Talked your way in.
You didn't climb over a fence or anything?
There was no fence involved, but I found a way to get on the lot, and then I just took that opportunity, and I'm like, where would I want to work if I could pick any place? They film all different types of sitcoms there, and Entertainment Tonight is just, I grew up watching it as a kid from the Midwest. But Entertainment Tonight was very limited. So I left that, moved around the Midwest, and then got into local news, which was really an experience. I used to call that 1,000 Ways to Die. because they would send you out to like middle of nowhere, Wisconsin by yourself. It's -42, and you're supposed to make something happen. And then from there, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do this. I love cars. Grew up with a gearhead and quit my job and got on the plane to go to SEMA.
Yeah, but how did you jump straight to the SEMA show from that? I mean, because that's a big the SEMA show, as you know, is like the holy grail for automotive enthusiasts. So that's a big jump.
Yeah, it was, well, growing up, I never really heard about SEMA. Like, I had seen like bits and pieces on, Power Nation and things like that, but I didn't know exactly what it was. And what happened was I was working local news in Green Bay and I was getting really irritated. So on the weekends, I created this Cruisin' with Kendra brand. I just go and like interview car guys. I went to a car show and in Green Bay, and I met somebody who was plugged in with SEMA, and he said, "You got to come out to California. You got to go to Diamond Bar, and tour the facility." And then they just really kind of like hyped me up on the show, and I put in my I asked for time off to go to SEMA that November. My news director said no, and I said, okay, I quit.
I'm going anyway.
I'm going anyway.
Cool, and that's how you got your credentials, right? Because you were in the media space. It's interesting you say that because Motorhead Digital, we're a marketing agency, right? And we shifted in 2017 to that and built our whole presence, and we've had media credentials ever since.
Mhm.
And now both Sean and I'm on Armo. Sean's been on Armo. Have you ever looked into getting on SBN or any of the councils to get deeper involved with SEMA?
Yeah, I've done SBN. It was right before the pandemic, so unfortunately, it was kind of a weird time to be on the committee, but lots of great women, lots of great ideas, and I really enjoyed my time.
That's awesome. I have one of my team members she joined SBN and she's doing the um, member at large thing, working with the communications and a couple other sub councils and stuff. Let's back up a little bit here to growing up as a gearhead. Tell us about that because that's huge for a lot of people. They don't. Most people we talk to have some roots somehow in the automotive space, whether they envisioned getting an automotive space initially while they were growing up or after the fact. I think like you did.
Well, so I am a third generation international scout enthusiast, and my grandfather worked for them for 40 years. He was an engineer. Um, and my dad has like made it his mission to create a scout museum at our house.
Wow.
Yeah. If you're ever in North Carolina, you definitely have to stop by because he has so much great scout memorabilia and he's been collecting it for like, 40 years. And we have about 5 international scouts, and I grew up with him and the scout passion. I was gonna say obsession, but it's a
There's a
mix.
fine line.
Yes. It's definitely like that midpoint between passion and obsession. And we would go to car shows together and watch Power Nation with him every Saturday morning back in the day when Courtney Hanson would host it. So I really got to experience how cool the car community was and how passionate everybody was from a young age.
Well, and it seems like you've carried that on too, because in your new endeavors, I've seen lots of videos of you off-roading with scouts, just carrying on that torch.
Definitely. I'm here in Los Angeles, but we go, off-roading with the group. We actually just went up to Barker Ranch where they caught Charles Manson. We off-roaded up there, in Death Valley. So it's fun to get plugged in with the community. The scout guys out here are just so passionate. It's really cool.
Have you ever thought about getting involved with the Rebel Rally or with Torah?
I have. I've thought about it, and sometimes it's like you have a thought, and then all of a sudden you get just like, focus on the next thing. But it's definitely been something that I have thought of over the years.
Yeah, if you ever want to get involved with Rebel Rally, talk to Katie Abraham, one of our co-hosts. She's heavily involved in that. She
Yeah.
can kind of point you in the right direction, I'm sure.
Okay. I'll do.
Back to the scout stuff. Back in the early, 88, I think my dad bought a motel in Vermont and there was a 73 Scout um, with a plow truck that he said, I don't want to use this. I'm not going to use it. Do you want it? rented a U-Haul trailer, drove all the way to Vermont from upstate New York and picked it up and brought it back. And it was actually the first project that I ever, so it's a vehicle I learned to paint cars on, and wish I still had it, because I'll tell you that they're getting very popular. Um, so you shifted to go to SEMA, and did you do a lot of social media from there? What did you do at the show to get to know people, to um, basically show everybody, hey, this is who I am. I love this, and this is what I do, kind of thing.
Well, that is a great question. And I think a lot of that was leading up to the SEMA show and being so frustrated at my $10 an hour news job, which not only was it like minimum wage, it also was so dangerous with because it's not glamorous. They don't send you out with a news producer or anything. It's just you by yourself. And I decided, what could I do to actually work on something that I love? Because I would pitch the news station car stories leading up to my exit when I went to SEMA. And the news director said, nobody cares about cars. Like, this is stupid. So what I did was I decided, okay, I'm going to go to every single car show in my area. And then what's really great about that is the manufacturers, they are there from the national companies, and then they can plug you in with the marketing people, like the marketing directors. So I'm like seeding my network and I'm figuring out where I can go. And when I went to this one show in Green Bay, I met this guy who was really involved with SEMA, and he said, come to this, come to this, come to this. So I was flying out to Anaheim to go to the SEMA gala, and that's where I met Joel Ayers, who is a SEMA Hall of Famer. And then from there, we became really good friends. And then when I did quit my job to go to SEMA, he was gracious enough to walk me around the show and introduce me to people because we all know how trade shows are. Everybody's like got their game face on. They're not going to talk to some Wisconsin girl, just newscaster who quit her job. They're like, okay, I'm trying to make money.
Yeah,
Um,
they're looking at your badge going, "Oh, you're media. Yeah, you're not gonna buy
about
anything."
I
yes.
can tell you that's a thing, man.
It is a
The first
thing.
year, Kendra, you got lucky. You had somebody when we first went. Um, the we got media credentials for PRI in 2019. Then that's the first actually SEMA type event I went to, and then COVID happened, and then we actually spoke at the SEMA show. First year I went to the SEMA show, we spoke at the SEMA show, had media credentials, and the talk went really well. But walking the floor was a different experience for me because I didn't have anybody to show me around. I didn't understand the whole concept of media credentials, and I did and I didn't know how people thought about them. So having somebody to guide you around is huge.
Yeah,
It
and I've
was.
done it from both sides. I've done it from the spectator side and from working the booth side. And I mean, yeah, it's you're drinking from a fire hose all week long. So yeah, you learn. You're scanning people's badges as they're going through, because it's still a business show, you know. So you gotta, as long as you understand that part, you be respectful of the vendors, their time. You're asking legitimate questions. We're all enthusiasts. That's why we're there.
No, definitely. It's kind of I equate it to wearing a scarlet letter. It's like, okay, yeah, you're going to have to be strategic, like you said.
Absolutely. So how did that move on to some of these bigger brands that you've worked with? I know you worked with the New Scout, have done some marketing work with them. And what are some of the other big brands that you've worked with?
Oh, we've been around for about 10 years now. So, um, NASCAR, Fox Sports. I did a big thing with Discovery, History Channel, from a manufacturer side. A lot of the OEMs like Scout Motors. We just did a big thing with Walmart. So Walmart Auto, where we're shooting a partnership campaign for them, where we're having to source the house that we're filming at, get vehicles moved, and then like a crew of 15 people. So it's a lot. And what's really cool is when I came back from SEMA, I had all these business cards, and I'm like, okay, I had no business experience when I made this leap to go to the show. So I was like, okay, I guess I cold call these people. And I was like I've said, I mean, I'm a Midwest kid, my parents are very by the book. Everybody has a 9 to 5. And being a business owner and going out on your own was such a foreign concept to them, especially because they were still reeling over the fact I had just quit my job with health insurance. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to call these people. It's going to probably be uncomfortable and painful. And it was. Um, and I just was relentless. So somebody finally decided, okay, please stop calling us. We will hire you.
It's the typical punk rock of the automotive industry. Most people have talent for the work and not talent for the business. So you jump in, you chase your dream. When I started my first shop, it took my dad 2 years to stop asking me when I was going to get a job.
No kidding, really?
No, Dad, I'm the job. No, but when are you going to get a job?
Yeah.
I employ people. But
Yes.
when are you going to get a job?
Exactly. Well, I have to tell you this. It was so embarrassing because you will get this, Sean and Barry. When we started this company, it was in my parents' basement and it had really bad cell service and like reception. So I was calling from my parents' landline, like clients. And one day, UNOH called me back and my mom answered the phone because it was my
Jeez.
And I'm like, oh gosh. And then they're like, is Kendra Sommer available? And my mom said, oh no, she's still sleeping.
The Gears and Gasoline podcast is proudly sponsored by Redline Synthetic Oil. With a legacy of excellence and over 100 premium products, Redline provides motor oils, gear oils, assembly lubes, fuel additives, and water wetter for the automotive, racing, motorcycle, marine, and industrial markets. Known for their exceptional quality and technical expertise, Redline is trusted by enthusiasts and professionals alike. Discover their full range of products and expert support at redlineoil.com.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
It was so embarrassing.
She's in the bathroom.
Yes. It's just like, your Midwest folksy mom.
Right.
Did you end up getting to talk to her though?
We did.
I mean,
Well, I told my mom, I said, let's not be that honest on the phone going forward. But I did end up getting UNOH as a client. They thought it was kind of.
But I mean, that's the journey though. Like we had joked about a little bit earlier. You always talk about your honey badger energy.
Uh-huh.
And, I've owned multiple small businesses, built them up, run small businesses. Now I basically coach and consult and help people build their small businesses. And that's the difference between people who are successful and people who aren't. It's that hunger. It's the old joke of, entrepreneurs, we jump out of the airplane and we build the parachute on the way down.
Yes.
And you've got to be hungry. You've got to chase it. So, I mean, that's exactly what you did.
Yes.
what's unfortunate is schools don't teach even the basics of starting a business and, things like, getting a accountant or a lawyer, things like even some of the basic stuff that you need to know, right?
So true. And I think the other thing is, especially when you're kind of coming into this industry blind and it's very intimidating, Sean, I know that you bring up honey badger energy, and that actually was said to me as an insult because it was.
Thank you.
Yeah, the first year that I went to SEMA, I had somebody walking around with me, but I was so aggressive on my follow-ups that people said, you came out of it like a honey badger. And I just decided, you know what? I like that because that shows me that, I'm making an impact and I'm following up. And I also felt like if I was a man, you would not have said that to me. But it is definitely something that I think we all need to just go for it. And if it's obnoxious, okay, don't worry about it.
You know what? I'd rather ask forgiveness than ask permission.
Yes.
It's again, that's the people who succeed in this industry are the ones who just, man, what was the line I heard? It's, I wish I had the confidence of a 25-year-old life coach.
Yes, I love that.
You just have to go blindly and, 100 miles an hour and chase that goal and chase that dream if you want to succeed.
Yes. And put on a helmet because you're going to get a ton of rejection.
Yeah, you got to suck that up and just keep moving, right? And I give you credit for taking and doing those cold calls because all these years I've been in business, I still calling. It's just
the people who succeed have failed more times than the people who fail.
Yeah.
One secret I do have on cold calling, I have over the years because I used to take it really personally and I'd be like, this person's rejecting me as the person. I have developed like a brand company persona. And then I feel like when I get rejected, it's not something personal. It's just something that they're rejecting this brand character that I've created. So there's a little bit of separation and it helps me process the rejection better.
Well, and a cheat that we all have in the automotive industry. I learned this because I did outside rep work for Edelbrock and Comp for about 4 years, and I'd go in. My background is building pro touring cars, not in sales, but I would walk into these shops, and you get the it's another salesman. So then you just start talking cars. I can't tell you how many times I go in there, I get the salesman blow off, and then I'm like, "Oh, hey, you got a '67 Mustang Fastback. You're doing rust repair. Yeah, did you look here, 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 and here?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah." And then next thing you know, you're their first phone call because you establish yourself as that expert.
Yes.
So,
And you come in with more of a friendship than just going directly for the kill.
absolutely. It's you sell through knowledge and education rather than selling just to sell. You build that trust, you build that rapport, you know, you be personable, you make them your best friend.
Yes, exactly. It's this industry, I was told when I first started, it's a belly to belly industry, which is kind of a weird way of saying that, but it is like everybody knows everybody.
Yes.
And like, you know what I mean? It's all about building that relationship. And if you are somebody that is kind of giving people the ick, the industry will know.
Yeah, and everybody around them will know too.
Yes.
So what have you seen change in your time since doing this? How has your approach changed to getting business, to winning clients?
Yeah, I would say that when I first started, I was going directly for the kill because I went to the SEMA show and I literally looked at my bank account and it was zero, which was a very strong motivator to get money and get clients.
For that honey badger energy.
Exactly. It's like, oh gosh, I got to eat tonight. I was going to those banquets, like, you know, you can get food at those banquets. And I was just like taking extra food and putting it in my purse because I was so broke that year. We are staying at like Circus. I mean, it was rough. But, you know, I feel like going in, building rapport, showing up at all these events, it's kind of like you do a circuit. So you're at the SEMA show, you start talking to them, building that rapport, and then they start seeing you again at PRI. Then they see you at other events throughout the year and you just keep showing up and consistency and being one thing I do is I wear the same, which you probably know. I wear pink. Uh, and
That's your
there are,
brand.
yes, and there are not a lot of people that wear pink and people remember that. So just
Because all the
somebody,
car shirts are black. Okay, let's just call it what it is.
they're all
Black,
black and gray.
black or gray, right? Yeah,
Exactly. Yes.
yeah. It's interesting you say that everything you've said because I went to school for auto services. I went to night school for auto body. I've been a car guy since I was 5, right? And never really got into the working in automotive space till we created Motorhead Digital and niched down into that. But I can tell you, it does make a difference. People know that you're sincere. You know what you're talking about. You know the industry, not inside and out and everything, right? There's so many aspects of it, but they know that you're a car person, right? That you get them. And we've had on the marketing side, we've had people come to us and say, "We're working with you because you get us. You're not just another marketing agency that uses a car to drive from point A to point B," right?
It's so important. I feel like they can just like tell right away by how you speak and the confidence that you're able to talk about the industry. And I will tell you this, one year I decided, you know what, I'm going to try to go to a different trade show just to see like what it's like. And I went to the candy trade show, um, which was very exciting. But I was showing the candy people my car samples, and it just did not. The only good thing that did come out of that show was I built a lot of relationships with candy companies. So still to this day, I get candy mailed to me.
Hey,
Nice.
It was fun, but you're right. It's like if you're good in one niche and one space, really define that and own it because it doesn't cross industries.
You were doing reporting again. We talked about that before we get into harness, but now you're doing all sorts of media. How did that experience, even at $10 an hour, help you tell the stories of car people and people in the industry and things like that?
Mhm. Well, I feel like when your job just like throws you a camera and says, figure it out, and you have to go and like make these, I mean, the news era is crazy because you have to pitch your story and then their news director's going to tell you that's crap. And then you have to go and like call people, set things up, drive yourself, and you're doing like several hits a day. Then you have to go back to the station and the computer's probably going to crash and then get your package out the door. And it's a lot of like go, go, go. So you
Sounds
learn
like small business. Yeah.
exactly. Yes. A lot of fires to put out and not enough water. And you
Murphy is always in the back seat.
yes. Yeah. And you got so much stuff in the back seat. Um, but I feel like it teaches you how to be good under pressure and how to be able to look at things and find story angles. Because at the end of the day, marketing is just finding the stories that people can latch onto and remember about the brand and what separates you from your competitors based on the storytelling.
We've talked about that a lot on the marketing side and the social media side about how sometimes people, shops, anybody in the industry that's hasn't gone through what you've gone through and been in your shoes, but wants with the social media world, with reels, with video, and some people are trying to put too much fine tuning it instead of just being themselves, right? And telling the true story and not making stuff up, right? Being
Oh,
authentic, I guess.
yes, people can tell if you're faking it or if you're being authentic. And I think, it's nice to have really polished pieces, but at the end of the day, I think consistency goes beyond polished. So you need to be consistent, show up in the same format and over putting something together and really high level.
Yeah, you got to know your audience as well, right? Especially on social media. Facebook is different than Instagram. Total different demographic these days versus like LinkedIn. And I wanted to ask you about that because we talk a lot about marketing businesses in the automotive space. How does LinkedIn, social media, YouTube, um, what's it done for your business and the clients you work for?
So LinkedIn is such a power tool. Um, I when I kind of started to get some clients, I got a little bit more confident and I was able to start reaching out to people who would engage with me on LinkedIn. And then from there, build that conversation and then warm up a cold call. So, like a great example of a client that I was able to land from LinkedIn would be Brunswick. So, I was able to build out a relationship there on LinkedIn. And then from there, I cold called, or I guess warm called their marketing director over at Mercury. And then they ended up hiring us, and I became the face of Mercury Racing for about 2 years just from a call. So, like, I feel like the other thing I think is if you can master the cold call, you are so far ahead of a lot of people because young people cannot use the phone. And I feel like if you're able to warm up a relationship on LinkedIn, have that nice little rapport about something other than what you do, and then get on the phone and kind of be friendly and build off of that, you can sell.
Yeah, like Sean said, talk their language, right? And get into that discussion and then move into, hey, how can we help you? Things like that, right? And sometimes you talked about being rejected. I think a lot of businesses aren't, they're busy, right? They didn't expect that call. They don't have time. They're in the middle of whatever, right? So you can't look at that as a bad thing all the time. Sometimes they just don't have time. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Gearheads and Gasoline. We're going to take a quick break here to share a message from our sponsor, Auto Metal Direct.
Hey guys, you're watching the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast. I'm Jason with AMD. Check this out.
You can always ask, hey, can I call you back at a different time? Things like that.
Mhm. I think that is where having a character, and this sounds totally bizarre, but go with it here. If you create a character that is like your business persona or like, somebody a little bit removed from you and like give that character a name, then you do not feel that rejection. Because I feel like I coach a lot of young people who are coming up, and people ask me, how do you, like, I get really hurt when I get rejected. And if you can kind of create a brand persona, I mean, celebrities do this all the time. You do not feel that rejection and you don't feel those personal attacks.
Fun little thing, real quick, Kendra. In a lot of your videos, you've got your persona voice, your news persona voice that is like on point. Give us a line.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. This podcast is going really great. Like that?
No, I noticed in some of it's like you hit that like perfect news voice with the inflections and the ups and the downs. And today we're doing this, and then we're going to do that.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Today we're going to be going over here, and then from there we'll be going over there.
There you go.
Like that.
That's interesting. I've noticed watching the news sometimes how they emphasize certain words, right? You know, everything's breaking news now, but there's certain words that are emphasized. I'm going, really? Did you have to emphasize that word? Whatever. It's just, I analyze the crap out of it now. My wife hates me when I watch the news.
It's that marketing brain.
Yes.
It's not that big a deal. You don't have to emphasize every freaking word adjective, right?
It is really funny that you mentioned everything is breaking news, because a very long time ago, my dream job was to work either for CNN or Fox News. And I was watching them recently, just kind of studying how different it is from the Fox News and CNN I grew up watching as a kid. And it's like breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. And they don't have packages anymore. It's all just a reporter in studio reading off the teleprompter. They're not in the field. It's interesting.
There was well, when we all went to school, I think they taught us this in kindergarten about the boy crying wolf. And it seems like that's what the news is doing with everything being breaking news. You end up going, just whatever, right? Yeah, you tune it out for sure.
It's so interesting that you say that, because I went to the Middle East back in 2019 before all the chaos broke out. And my mom was so scared. She's like, you're going to just, like every day she's sending me like scary headlines about the Middle East. Exactly. And like, oh, this person is missing, like all these crazy headlines. And I went over there and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel safer over here than I do in Chicago. Like, it's the news. They alter, they shift, how people view things. It's crazy.
It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. They're manipulating it one way. They're manipulating it the other way. Reality, right up the middle.
Yes.
And it's interesting. I don't want to get into the politics side of things, but I've heard a lot of stories recently with the World Cup going on in the U.S. of people from the UK and other countries doing all these social media posts about how they didn't realize what they got a lot of bad juju from media and everybody saying that, hating on America. They come here and they're like going into Costco and Bass Pro and Buc-ee's and people are treating them nice and they're getting huge portions in the restaurants and all this stuff that they didn't expect. And they're just like, oh my God, America's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just surprising. It's not surprising to me. They're getting the reality of it except instead of the lies.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we're not perfect. I can tell you that. Not, but it's just how the news media is these days. It's pretty sad, actually.
It is. They can alter your thoughts.
Yep.
So let's circle back around. You talked about going over to the Middle East.
Yeah.
And I know you had gone over there. You had done some work with the Saudi Crown Prince's car show.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us more about that.
Yeah. That was an experience. So leading up to that, my mom was like, sending those articles. So I had so much anxiety going over there. And please keep in mind, I had never really left the country before this. I went up to Canada to go see a hockey game. And that was my extent of international travel. So when I go to the Green Bay airport, which is very like podunky and small, actually, let me rephrase that. When I went to the Green Bay airport, it was, it's a very small town. And they go, what is your final destination? And I said, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And the lady was just like, oh my gosh, okay. Like, like people don't do that. And anyways, so we get on the plane and we fly to DC, and the plane is so fancy. They had us up in like fancy class. Normally I'm a deep coach kind of girly. And they had a chef on the plane. it was flying on Saudi Air. And then just fancy. It was a 15-hour flight over there. And then we got to Riyadh, and it was just, it felt like Manhattan. I mean, it was but like fancier. Everybody drives Ferraris. And I mean, it was amazing. We went on, we would go to the show every day. We were doing daily reports for the event with our partner, Bonnier. They put the event on, and then we'd go and we get to go explore Saudi Arabia. It's beautiful. And, I feel like one thing it showed me, well, the best part was we were able to ride along with a woman who had just gotten her driver's license. That was a thing that had just happened over there where women could finally drive. And it made me see the world was not a scary place. It's not as scary as everybody tells you, but also how proud I am to be an American and live here with freedom.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
I mean, yes, there are scary places, but the majority of it isn't, right? So,
I mean, I will tell you this. One thing I did not know this before going. I wore my hot pink jacket like I wear everywhere in the Middle East, and I don't think they're used to people doing that. So,
not a lot of blonde women walking around with hot pink jackets.
No. So, if I had to do it over again, I probably would have toned it down a little bit. But we were with such a big group, we were very safe. But it was when I got off the plane on the way back, I hugged the TSA guy, which I don't think you're supposed to do. And I'm like, yeah, it's nice.
Home's always home, right? And it's great to visit places, but coming home is the best, right?
Well, I have to ask you, have you guys done international travel like that?
I grew up in a military family, so I lived in Korea for 2 years. I've been through Japan, been through Germany. Actually did a student exchange trip to the Soviet Union in high school. So traveled through the Soviet Union when it was still the Soviet Union for 3 weeks. I've been to Moscow. I've seen St. Basil's Cathedral. I've seen Lenin's body. And same theme. The people were amazing. Absolutely amazing. You get outside of the cities, you get outside of the noise, and people are people no matter where you go in the world. They were wonderful.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've been to Europe, Switzerland, Italy, Spain, where else? Sicily, quite a few different places, Caribbean. So we have traveled overseas. My wife actually, she was like you, Kendra. When we first got married, she'd never hardly been out of New York State, right? And it's just how our family was, right? I took her to Niagara Falls. Now you've been in another country, and so because we went to Canada, right? My wife, we travel, right? So she had never traveled to Europe, so we were going to go to, we were going to go to Switzerland, Germany, and Switzerland, right? So the first flight we had to fly into Dulles, and the plane, every time it turned a little bit, it went down like this. And she's getting green, and we get into Dulles, get off the plane. I go, I'm sorry, dear, but we got another 5 hours over the Atlantic, nonstop on a plane. She's like,
but the big ones are easy.
yeah. Actually, it was a brand new 777 at the time, so
Beautiful.
I was super stoked, right? We came home on a 747. I'm a big plane guy. But anyways, Kendra, I want to understand how you build trust with major brands. We're talking about marketing, so let's talk about that, how you build that trust.
I think, I think it is just continually having good communication. I am somebody who has OCD. I'm sure you noticed that with all the information I sent over ahead of this. And I like to be very organized. I like to have everything laid out so everybody knows exactly what they're going to get. I build out production books, and it's a way to say, hey, this is what the aesthetic's going to look like. This is what this is going to look like. And then there's no surprises because, Barry, I'm sure you know, having a surprise, like a client be surprised in a bad way is never good. So I like to just get rid of any element of surprise that's not positive. And then I also like to continually show up. So, when we're on a project, if something comes up, we can pivot and then continually build out that relationship.
Cool. Yeah. And it is that everything you sent was amazing. And we actually have the onboarding form that you filled out. I will not do the show unless our guests fill that out. Even if I know them, I need that filled out, right? Because myself, my co-host need to know, who are we talking to? What's their story, right? Even though we may know them really well. I want to get into some other questions about, we always talk about youth engagement here, and because you're in media, what should young people know about getting into the automotive media space?
Being realistic is really important. I think that like when you're young and you're just starting out, like you don't really know, like everything kind of looks just like so glamorous. And then, you get there, you go to SEMA and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it would be. And it's a lot of like, it's going to take a lot of time to build something. And you need to make sure that you're prepared for rejections. Not everybody's going to be nice and warm and embracing. And the people that are kind, you need to stay close to those people because I feel like good people, you just need to kind of collect good people, good clients, good partners, good team members. Like I just like good people, and there will be people that will not be good. So I think just kind of understanding that is a very good foundation.
Yeah, for sure. And even business wise, right? We've gained clients that we talked to for 2 years before they even hired us. You have to, build that relationship, and a lot of clients will become friends of yours too, right? So, that's a cool part about this industry. It's very that's a big family, I should say. That's a word I've used in the past.
Just as dysfunctional.
Yes.
What's that?
I said it's just as dysfunctional.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sure. That's just like anything, right? But it's just unique, right? It's different than a lot of different things because we all have cars in common, and
Yes.
that's cool. I can say, Kendra, I'm a big Scout fan, but if you talk to those people over the new Scout, they
Uh-huh.
got to make a version with a freaking engine in it. I'm sorry, they'd sell a ton of them.
You're not the only one who said that, and I it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Motorhead Digital. Motorhead Digital are digital marketing experts for your automotive aftermarket, restoration, performance, race, and restyling shop. They help you supercharge your shop's website, social media, and entire online presence to attract those badass customers you're looking for. Check us out at motorheaddigital.com.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. So, like I'm with you. I think EV is very limiting, and I feel like just kind of with the current administration, they've really put the kibosh on a lot of EV advancement. So I think that you're like a lot of people saying the same thing.
Well,
Yeah,
aren't they going hybrid now?
Yeah.
Or offering hybrid, I believe.
I'm not sure. Everything is just kind of like changing. So, I think the release date got pushed back a little bit, and but it's really exciting to see a brand with that kind of legacy coming back, and very.
And it's a great looking truck.
Oh, I know, and
Great looking truck.
there's so many like items from the original. Like they have a lot of the Scout community really giving feedback, and it's cool. They moved their headquarters to Charlotte, so my dad's all jazzed about that.
Yeah, Sean, I read that there is one that's a hybrid. It's got a small engine in it. It's still electric, right? But that helps, with your range and stuff. And I think, yes, the administration has curtailed a lot of stuff. I think the incentive money was a huge part. So that's hurt the industry because that's gone away. As a car guy all my life, don't force stuff down my throat. That was my biggest thing with the last administration. Let the market decide. Don't try to say, oh, we're going to eliminate all internal combustion engines. That was like that right there, just like, nope, I hate EVs. Sorry, you're pushing me off the edge here when you're trying to say eliminate things by increasing the average fuel economy to insane numbers that no manufacturer can meet, right?
It's what.
Go ahead, Kendra.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's like we're really lucky to have the SEMA PAC like really lobbying for us, especially in states like California. I mean, if you look at how our state is structured from the gas tax, like our gas here is like almost $7 a gallon right now. And that's for like normal. So I mean, it's just like it's really positive that I actually just worked with SEMA PAC, and it's really great to see what they're doing as far as saving our rights in the state.
Yeah, see Karen and everybody there at SEMA Action. We're actually I'm one of a huge group of influencers and media people that they've brought in, and we meet every quarter to talk about what's going on, how we're gonna get the word out, right? Um, let's go back to young people real quick, and um, from your view, Kendra, what can the industry do to attract more young people into the space? And I don't care whether it's young people to do fabrication, do painting, to work on cars, or get into the media space or social media or marketing.
Mhm.
What should we do to get more people into it? Because we need more young people in this industry, big time.
I definitely agree with you. Well, it's exciting because trade schools right now are booming. And I feel like that is such a good sign for our industry. With getting young people in, I think that it needs, I mean, I will tell you, like, even going to SEMA, I've gone now for 10 years almost. And
Nice.
it is still hard sometimes to get people to take you seriously and talk to you, especially if you like look a little bit younger. I feel like I wish that every young person could somehow fill out a form or something and be assigned an industry mentor. Like I feel very lucky to have Joel Ayers kind of shepherd me into the industry and help me that first year. I mean, I don't think I could have done that show by myself. I'm impressed that you were able to do that. And Sean, I think, it takes a lot of chutzpah to do that. Also, one thing I wish SEMA would do is that first year going to SEMA, Vegas is so expensive. And I wish they would create some sort of scholarship where they would fly people to the show. I feel like I've mentioned that to them. I thought that would be a really great way to offset costs on the first year.
Yeah, they
Well,
have
and
the
I've had,
scholarship. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, I had one of my former interns while she was in engineering school. She actually won a scholarship to get to the show.
Okay.
But then she almost couldn't go because exactly the cost of airfare, the cost of hotels, the cost of food, everything. And I was able to kind of organize between some of the other SEMA councils and things. People had donated. Um, Brett Kinsfather from Shop Monkey helped offset some of her expenses so that she could get out there and enjoy the show and see it.
Mhm.
So, and that has completely changed her life. She finished her engineering degree, went on, got her master's degree. It's those type of people we want to encourage, being in this industry.
Yes. And what you're saying, I hear from a lot of young people. They can't afford it. And that's the issue. I mean, Vegas, like Circus. I mean, those rooms are like what, $300 a night? I mean, you're there for a whole week. That adds up.
It's pricey for all of us, and the farther we're almost $700 a seat just flying out there. It's expensive. Can you tell us some of the struggles behind the camera that would surprise people?
Again, I just so this is a great question because I actually last year I ended up getting my dream job. And I had wanted this job for 10 years. And I think in our head, we build things up and we think they're going to be just like so glamorous. I do this all the time. We always go in so optimistic. And then when you see, like, oh, wow, like there's issues here too. And this is not like how I had it in my head. So being able to be realistic and accept situations and then also be able to, understand that I feel like there's going to be difficult clients and that is not a reflection of you. It's just, I think, just honestly giving yourself a lot of grace is really important. And I mean, especially as a woman, you're going to get told some really messed up things in this industry. Like, I've had so many messed up things happen, like people saying those things to me. And I know this is not that kind of podcast, but it makes me sad. I think that is something that young people, young women getting into the space need to understand that those people exist in every space. They will say things to you, and you need to be able to have a thick skin, create a brand persona that is separate from you so you don't feel that and get hurt.
And I'll go back to what you had said earlier about collecting good people,
Yes.
because you will absolutely see it in this industry where the good people group together. And if you've got somebody in the industry who is, kind of like you're saying, a bad actor, for lack of a better word, everybody around knows.
Yes.
Because the higher you go in this industry, the smaller the circles get. And it's all reputation.
Yes.
Your reputation is the number one thing you can have in this industry. And if somebody is consistently behaving like that, everybody knows.
Yes. And I think the other thing is having a good support system around you and talking to people who have done what you're trying to do and not getting discouraged by people that are the naysayers because they come out of the woodwork too. So it's a lot of things, just really relying on yourself and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and knowing who to associate with and who really matters.
Yeah, and they say even some Hollywood types is, even big podcasters. I have huge podcasts. They go, if you want to not be stressed out, don't read the comments. Right? We had a young lady on here, an influencer in the automotive space, and she had some guy telling her to go back in the kitchen, whatever, and I slammed him because I would piss me off, right? Because it's like, and I told her, I said, you got to ignore these people, and they are. That's not the majority. There's a lot of amazing people in this space, and who knows, that guy probably might not even been working in the industry, might have been just a jerk. But um, what's next for CWK Media?
Well, I want to continue doing what I'm doing, client projects, traveling around the country. That's really exciting. And then I'm wanting to get into television and film. So that's like my next big goal. My business partner works in the entertainment industry. He's a producer, editor. And I'm wanting to look at ways that we can advance the automotive space that way.
Nice. Yeah, we need more automotive shows since who killed all the shows? Was it Discovery Channel or History Channel? Killed all the amazing shows that were out there. But Sean, anything else before I go into our speed round?
Man, I would just say, what is the coolest experience that you've had through everything you've fought for, everything you've accomplished? What was the most fun, that just like, if you were going to tell the like pinnacle story of everything you've been through?
I would say the most exciting thing, one of them, was when I was working with Brunswick, we were down on in Miami for the Miami Boat Show, and the CEO of Brunswick, who I'm good friends with, gets in the boat. The boat has hand straps to like hold on, and he puts his goggles down, and we went 175 miles an hour down the Miami coast.
Jeez.
And that was wild. Like that, I felt like was the epitome of being in the performance industry. Um, and then I guess like the other thing would just be having these weird, like I feel so successful moments. Cause I'm one of those people that is so like head down. I don't ever appreciate anything I've done until somebody like says, wow, a commercial you just shot is on TV, or like, oh my gosh, like you did, you know what I mean? So having those breakout moments where I look up and say, oh wow, like we're actually making the dream work. It's pretty cool.
Celebrate the small wins.
Yes, you have
Yeah,
to.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so all right.
All yours,
So
Barry.
what's that, Sean?
All yours, Barry.
All mine. Okay, we're gonna do a speed round now. We got 4 questions for you. Number one is, and I don't want you to take a long time to think, just off the top of your head, right? What's your favorite driver, team, hot rod, muscle car, or truck?
Oh, well, International Scout, of course.
Right.
And I'm getting really into Baja and Score International events.
Awesome.
You're in the right part of the country for that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, so fun.
absolutely, for sure. I've been watching a lot of Baja racing and things like that. What's your favorite tool in your toolbox?
My brain. Because I think it even like because it can figure out everything. So I'd say it's my toolbox.
Nice. I like it. Do you have a favorite racetrack, automotive event, or car show?
I love the Good Guys shows because they have that fun like active cruise where the show's happening and then there's like all these people driving. But close second would be the Hot Rod Power Tour. I've done that several times, filming and riding along with different people on the journey.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to a Good Guys Columbus next week, and we're going to be doing the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast from the AMD GM truck experience. Yes. And that is going to be a blast. Now, I've never done Power Tour, and every year when it pops up, I'm not going to be able to do this. Just got too much stuff going on. So someday. Final question. What's the best advice you ever received and from whom?
I would say it would definitely be, I look up to Lucille Ball. So I feel like she always talks about being a trailblazer. And when people set up obstacles, you just like continue to push. I mean, if you think about it, she was 40 when I Love Lucy started. She was told her husband couldn't be her husband on TV. She fought for it. And she's the first woman to own her own production company. So I think she's definitely somebody to look up to.
Definite trailblazer for sure. Yeah. Yeah. There's a museum
I
in New
know.
York, some place for her.
Jamestown.
Yeah. Jamestown. That's right. Haven't been there yet, or the Jello Museum either. So, anyways, Kendra, thanks for joining us today. Sean, thanks for taking the time out of your day to be my co-host. Kendra, tell the listeners where they can connect with you, listen to you, find you online.
Yeah. Well, definitely. It's my name, Kendra Sommer, Sommer with an O instead of a U. And if anyone has any questions about getting into the industry or how they can go after what they really want to do, like live their dream, please reach out to me. I coach people all the time and give advice where I can.
Awesome. And we'll have all your media connections and social media in the description for the podcast and all the channels. So thanks everybody for joining us. We're Gearheads and Gasoline, where we're fueling your success.
We know you don't want to miss an episode, so don't forget to smash that bell so that you get notified of every new episode. Click that like button, leave us a comment, and share with your people. And visit us repeatedly. We love it.